Welcome back to Refrain Chord, and now it's time for Beating Heart.
Sure.
As in Fleur's Beating Heart.
Usually.
This song sounds familiar. Can't place where I've heard a song that sounds like this before.
You mean Fleur's theme?
Yeah.
I can't really think of anything that it reminds me of, but like I said, it's the only track in this game that I actually care about. Specifically, all of it's Notes of Faith, the theme song that plays in the opening, like Notes of Faith, and is also sung by Yui Ishikawa herself, right? And what we're hearing right now is an instrumental version of it. Go on.
I don't remember if I asked, outside of, the fact that the first game, advertised on Uematsu, but he only did like a one song and everything. The main composer of this the same as the previous game?
Kenji Kaneko. He's the only member of the original Neptunia team that made Fairfence that returned for this game. Kenji Kaneko, the composer. But it's okay, Teo. But it's okay, Teo, because they got Nobuo Uematsu to make the title screen theme. So,
they got him back for this game.
And yet, surprisingly, Teo, they didn't plaster his name all over the marketing for some surprisingly. I guess they realized that tactic didn't really work the last time around. So.
Basically, Job, I mentioned in the interview that these days he prefers to just do like a one song per game because he doesn't feel like making an entire soundtrack for an entire game these days.
Well, I guess kudos to this game for helping stave off his retirement.
Not only he's old, but there's also the fact that he had health complications.
Yeah,
so I can understand.
His health leaves him in a place where he can barely work anymore. It's not like with John Williams. John Williams is super old, but at least as far as I can tell, he's still healthy for his age, so he can still do movie scores like the Spielberg movies, right?
Like to be fair, and to John Williams' credit, the only time I recall him turning in a sucky Star Wars album was because he was feeling sick that time. Not even like, health problems, just, no, he was legit sick while making that one.
Which soundtrack was that?
Health, he was back on his A game.
Which soundtrack was that?
I think that was either Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker.
To be perfectly honest, Jova, I didn't really care much for either of his scores for the new trilogy, honestly. I found... I actually remember distinctively when I went to see Force Awakens in theaters, and one thing that I particularly found lackluster even immediately was John Williams' score, which mostly just comprised of reused themes, And yes, I get that Star Wars always reuses themes here and there, but even the prequel scores had a lot of new, good material, whereas the sequel trilogy, on the other hand, I can't even think of a new theme that's on par with the older ones.
Just to check, because I might have forgot, was the cutscene about Fleur expressing her feelings, and asking, in case just to beat sense into Al, the same as it was in the other timeline?
It seemed a bit different this time, since once again, Fleur seems to be taking a lot more agency this time. So, okay, in the other route, Fleur was arguably just as shocked as the rest of the gang because she had to be told about it. Here, since she came to the deduction, it almost seems like Fleur is going to become the leading force against Al just to make sure he doesn't do his evil plans, which, to be fair, again, I find an improvement over the other route, if only because, again, it makes sense that Fleur would take charge in that regard. Also, it seems that Al's plan in this route is a bit different since this one involves using a mixture of the
same
wine
technology
and
that
blood.
Noie has for his gun.
Yep.
Also, another thing about Al, while he's become evil, he doesn't seem to be going cackling mad all the time like he did in the other route.
Well, I can imagine towards the end he's still gonna, considering that one probably won't change much.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, to give him credit, he hasn't turned into a mustache-twirling villain. Like, the change is relatively subtle, but apparent here.
Sure.
Whereas in the other route, as soon as he was out, he was pretty much cackling, laughing half the time.
I still don't find him a particularly interesting or compelling villain, but at least he's not a complete joke, so there's that.
Oh, trust me, like, he is nothing incredible. Again, remember, when we're saying that things are great, typically it's by the standards of fair.
I argue I'm more interested in, even knowing how lame the conclusion is, a lack of catharsis. I kind of care more about him than Junown was in Advent Dark Force.
Yeah, Junown. Here's the thing. I didn't even care about Junown in Advent Dark Force, much less
Oh,
here.
that's what I mean, Pedro. Not in this game, in Advent Dark Force.
Oh, subject 69.
Nice, yes.
Huh.
I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they weren't going for the meme with that
Obvious.
one.
Well, to be fair, the key component was called 34, so I don't know, Jova.
Oh god. Okay, then all that's missing is number 63, and then, oh god, maybe they are actually doing that intentionally. But yeah, no, again, like, I'll give credit where credit is due. This route feels a lot more natural and not as herky-jerky as the other route did. It's not much, but it is a noticeable amount to the point where, again, it legit feels like about a, hey, do you want your route to be technically more shocking, but arguably more lackluster, or do you want one with actual substance?
Hi, Lola.
Hey, Lola. Also, I don't know if it's just me, but I think I've noticed in both routes there's a distinct lack of a trumpet theme later on after
That's
this
because it's
time.
more used for the sketches. Well, even in the sketches, it's not as common as I thought it would be, even though it's still present way too many times, but for my liking.
I guess the idea is that after the divergent point, things are getting more serious, yo.
To be fair, that's kind of sort of what happened also in Advent Dark Force. After the time travel kind of bit, unless it was for a very early on kind of moment, like snapping out of a memory in the Vile God route, for example, you know, usually for the rest of the route, they were not particularly using the trumpet theme.
That is a fair point. It's just that it feels like they have more restraint on it in this soundtrack. Granted, maybe that's because they want to showcase more of the new tracks in the soundtrack, so of course that's the case, but who knows.
And there's no time to waste.
To the wine factory, where we
Ta-da!
absolutely will not sample any of that delicious alcohol.
No,
Don't give it to Rain.
to be fair,
Or,
to be fair,
again, or Ethel, or Aaron.
to be fair, to be fair, Aaron is not a child. To be fair, but
She's
Yeah,
17, she's still not old enough.
well, technically she's 100 years old. But well, sure, I get you. I mean, do we know for sure that she's supposed to be 17 though? I don't remember reading that
Oh
anyway.
snap.
Oh, Christ.
Let me check. Well, regardless, the point is, to be fair, in anime, while you know the treatment of you know sexual aspects can be questionable a lot of times, when it comes to underage drinking, usually anime surprisingly tends to be conscious about it from my experience. So I'm not too worried about this.
It's a bit similar to gun control. There are some cultural things that tend to be prioritized over others, including exploitation and sensationalism.
They seem to take underage drinking seriously, at least. So there's that.
Definitely. Set him on the right path.
No, it's like that's cool, but can I be a bug already?
Basically, yeah. Alright, let me see. According to the fairy
Oh, Aaron. A simple motive in this universe. Good luck with that.
Oh no,
To be fair, it works for Lola, money.
Dubs is right. The wiki does say that she's 17. I mean, technically she's not, but sure, I get you.
I'd say it's supposed to, like, disguise something, but no, we know from the get-go she's a fairy. I mean, wait, hold on. Okay, we know that she's like a reincarnation or something of the goddess.
The goddess,
Like,
yes.
Do we know for certain that she's like hundreds of years old,
Yes.
or is it more so the goddess?
Well, that's
is
literally what the opening narration of both games tells us, Jova. You know, like that that the goddess and the
No,
vile
it
god have
does.
fought for centuries and blah blah blah. And Aaron
Well,
is
there we
part
go.
of, and Aaron is, according to her, part of the goddess. She came. All the fairies apparently came from the goddess, apparently, according to her.
To
So
be fair, in that regard, she's like a component or a restoration point of the goddess, which could mean that, you know, as a piece of the goddess, she's technically that old, but as her own person, she's only 17.
and yet another
That's my take on it.
episode of SCWRM trying to do world building that the series refuses to do on its own.
That's a good
I
point.
argue
You got no
it doesn't.
comment.
You got no karma, you got no virtue.
And you get
Unless
no
you
beaches.
have the right routine to make me a freaking praying mantis.
Also-
Sit down and die.
Also, I argue it doesn't even matter, you know. The point is that even in the other routes, you know, it just didn't matter. Also, I guess you fought Indies.
No, yeah. We already saw a fight with Noie. We already saw a fight with Noie in the previous route anyway. So you already know. You've also seen the background of this factory before because we had a level of it in the side quest of the first route. So you've trust me, you've seen all of this. It's just
I'm sure
transpired.
there was a better way to make a pun out of that.
Because I hate being human.
I mean, you're not wrong, but at the same time, the other extreme is not healthy either.
It's more like what Fang said, basically. You know, even if the situation really sucks, you know, just try to, you know, make the most of what you have.
The
You'll
world,
die anyway.
Noie, the world ends with you. Expand it.
GM.
I recall making that joke too, but yeah, Noie's character flaw has been that he takes things way too much on the nose to the point where he legit figures that the only solution is to just throw away all free will, essentially. And
He's also a nihilist, you know, again, believes, but doesn't necessarily want the destruction of humanity because, you know, internal code of honor means karma system.
I will give credit to Refrain Chord. It does add an interesting layer to his character and does make me consider if he deep down really doesn't want to be an insect, but he feels that he has to become an insect.
Also, regardless of that, this route is doing also a better job on him than the other one, because the other one it just drops like that and then becomes part of a party.
Oh, I love this bit here.
Is a bit more.
You see, Noie, you should be just like me. Mariana's literally telling Noie, look, you can
You know,
be
if
free. You
Frank is
just
supposed to be the symbol of freedom, I think we're better off, you know, with what Noie said.
I mean, hey, to be fair, while he may appear to be a doofus, Fang has a surprisingly good success rate at the whole hero business.
It's more of a good argument to Jova about when you give freedom to someone, they don't know what to do with it.
But to be fair, with that freedom, Fang has technically saved the world 5 times if we're counting all these different time routes as individual universes.
yeah. This
that
bit, I
will
want to comment on this
eventually
bit from
beat each other.
Ifrit. I want to comment on this bit from Ifrit. Right after this, yeah. Yeah, okay. I get that we see some of that stuff in the skits, but in my opinion, even if you watch all the skits like we have, I still don't really get anything from that line. That it doesn't resonate for me. Like Ifrit is such a bland character. I just cannot. I just can't connect with him. I just can't.
I think
Okay,
it's supposed
okay.
to be a common theme to the new characters as a whole, you know. Fleur getting freed from Al, Rin getting freed from the life that she and unfortunately also her brother had as child slaves, you know. And in this case, Ifrit freed at least partially from his obsession with Sagi and finding out that there's something else in life.
For me, it works because we did actually get to see Ifrit freed from his mindset of you have to be a fencer or die or you won't matter. Like, no, the gang has gotten it through his head that you don't have to be a fencer to matter in life, essentially. So that works for me.
The problem is that it was way too easy. It wasn't the proper depiction of overcoming brainwashing.
I say that sort of stuff can vary, and yeah, Ifrit was brainwashed, but the advantage they had was that his main obsession was with Zagi, and since Zagi happened to be with us, that helped the process. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I do see the logic, which, trust me, this game needs.
Also, Fang and Mariana are now basically treating Noie like he's a dog. Like,
and I know that it sounds potentially pedantic, but I have to notice that they did not even took the moment to make the joke about Mariana being an old hag. Apparently, that seems to be a more, an exclusive to both the Skids and majorly the other round, for reasons that escape me.
I don't know what to tell you too.
Granted, for all we know, maybe...
Is this... Again, I'm just convinced they wrote this first and then decided to dump all the discarded ideas into the other because they had time, I guess.
It really does feel like that. Heck, for all we know, maybe even the skits are slightly edited to not circle around Mariana's age.
I'm not gonna give too much credit on the game on that, Jova, because that would require really a lot of work, so... I don't think so. Otherwise, there will be some formal degree of, separation between them, regardless. And I don't think they do.
That is a good point, especially since sadly some quests do.
Anyway, let me hear what Noie has to say about the wine's technology. Okay, this we knew already about the blood of the evil goddess.
Haha! I already knew that because I played Advent Dark Force.
Hey, continuity.
Oh, nice. Ancient Weapon Reborn, or Revival of the Evil Goddess, or whatever you want to call it.
Chapter 23, Ancient Weapon Reborn.
Bit of a setback.
Don't worry, I thought Susan was going to say, don't worry, I've got a portable one that I carry around in my handbag.
Yeah. You really don't give up.
Well, she didn't even in Advent Dark Force, admittedly.
Yep.
So all of this is literally just trying more of her poison.
Junown is the type of villain that will do it to the very until she's literally beaten to the ground.
Yep.
Yeah.
Again, I wouldn't even mind that so much if either game bothered to flesh her out in some way, because I still have no idea who she is, what's her background, what motivates her to do this, how did she become this way. We have no grounds on who this person even is. She's just a bad guy for the sake of having a bad guy.
I'll admit, Advent Dark Force, at least to me, did give off the idea that she was a product of the butterfly effect, essentially. Someone who could only exist in a world that would produce the evil goddess. But no, Refrain Chord, I guess, suggests that she was always
Keep in mind,
there.
we don't, like I said, one of the characters that actually do not return, one of the few characters who actually do not return from Advent Dark Force is Chiaki, the girl who, passed on as a good person, but then turned out to be a spy. I don't understand why she was cut away from this.
Maybe she
her
was
presence
the anomaly?
again, I can live. Okay, Papin is a weird exclusion, but I can live without it.
And even Papin is inferred to be around.
Was to just be a lieutenant for the Septarian Club, and yes, was connected to Pippin and everything. But in regards to the Septarian Club, he was just basically a Vilgate lieutenant. Okay, Chiaki was supposedly very attached to the Septarian Club and Junown, so her being completely absent from this feels very, very odd, actually.
My best guess is they legit just couldn't think of what to do with her in this game, seeing as how her role in Advent Dark Force is essentially be a spy, realize she was in the wrong, and die. I mean, granted, I'm simplifying that, so maybe there was more to her character.
No, you're not simplifying. You literally just describe her character entirely. That's it. Remember, even one of my favorite moments from our Advent Dark Force run is how Teo tried to guess that she was the final boss, and he got that wrong. And then Dweebs just casually, all of a sudden, Shaki's a spy, and there you go.
I mean, so I guess in that regard, one might wonder, what would we have her do in this plot that can even surprise us? Like, if they're gonna do the whole spy thing again...
I mean, okay, first of all, Joba, it's not automatically required that it needs to surprise us, you know. As much as I enjoy expectation subversion, you know, sometimes I get the idea why they will have to play it. Remember, this is still a complete new timeline, so if she passed on as the spy in this one too, the party would not know, and as such, you know, we can still do that kind of plotline, maybe with some, you know, different kind of beats, but, you know, we still could do that.
Oh, that's a fair point, but the thing is, I'm going off of the logic of the game itself, and for as much as this game does, you know, repeat some stuff, for the most part, the game seems to be opting to do different stuff with its characters overall, for the most part. Seeing as how this is essentially a, what if we were in the regular timeline, but every party member was alive and fine, essentially, as opposed to having to be killed or brutally maimed, essentially. Like, I don't, okay, like, we find out Lola's a fairy, but to be fair, she had to be playable anyway, so it makes sense we would do that, but otherwise, like, I don't feel like we've had to repeat, like, any of the big story beats from the other routes in the original game, you know, aside from ones that lead us up to the point of this new and original plot, essentially. The closest we've come to that is essentially when... Okay, that was kind of funny.
That man, TM.
So what's he gonna do? What are they gonna do? Freak it?
But yeah, anyway, just to cap off, like, I've never really seen a part where it feels like the game is legit just trying to repeat full verbatim a plot point from the original Evan Darkverse. Like, even though we're dealing with Junown again, her plans are definitely altered from how they went.
She's still trying to brainwash everyone with the wine, so there is that.
It's still
There's that. However, her plan is altered. I guess my thing is like, and you know what? I'm not saying it would have been impossible to do something new with Chiaki. I'm just going off the level of writing prowess and skills I've seen from the writers overall, and I do wonder, what would they do with Chiaki? Like, okay, let me put it like this. I could see them doing more with Apollonius' sister than I could see them doing with Chiaki.
Yep. Like, and again, for some reason, even though she's mentioned here and there, Emily is not in this game.
Like, shoot, even Pappin technically shows up. Admittedly,
No,
not
he
for our
didn't.
characters.
No, he did not. He got mentioned.
No. As in, he's been mentioned as having showed up in the sense that he has technically showed up in the world, but, you know, not before our very eyes, is my
I guess. I usually don't count lip service.
That's fair, that's fair.
The world would.
My lord, the high levels are too high. We'll be in peril. Why, Solaris? Why do you refuse to listen to my voice?
You know, this is like that, except if the Duke wanted to legit fight Solaris 1v1 instead.
Remind me, the Duke is
Solaris,
voiced.
fight the RRL.
Remind me, the Duke is voiced by Don Green, right?
I believe so, yes.
Oh, okay then. Because it sounds a bit kind of. It sounds a bit like kind of Don Green trying to do an old man voice.
He was voiced by David Will.
Okay then.
Huh. I'll admit, he sounded...
SPO's 4 Kids voice.
Ah, okay.
I'll admit, he sounded immensely like Dan Green.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess we could only have Dan Green voice so many people in the game. Since he was already doing Knuckles and Mephiles.
Okay, so next, Resonance. We're almost done.
And also, David Waltz was also the guy who voiced that line of dialogue that they had to repeat because the guy fucked up and
okay.
kept that audio in the game.
The Agent Shadow line.
Yeah.
For real.
私自身の力だと思います。アルレルトが私を作った際、フューリーも使ったようですから。
So that makes you partially a fairy, doesn't it?
そして女神と邪神の血なんだよね。
All that's missing is sugar,
is
spice,
like
and everything nice.
I know, right? This is like some pop-off girls science right here. Like you mix the blood of the goddess, the blood of the vile blood, mix it with a sword, and boom, comes out a
You
person.
get a hot, yeah, it comes out a hot anime girl. Those are the ingredients.
Just add, well, I guess the vile blood and the blood of the goddess is already the chemical X. So
Given that she has like the abilities of a pop idol, does that mean this is what Hatsune Miku is made up of?
maybe
Sure, let's go with that.
違うのかもしれません
it's a kind of magic.
Also, Jova, if the Cuphead DLC told you anything to go by, the secret ingredient for gaining ultimate power is a living soul. So there is that.
心は体に影響
Well, I already had Mortal Kombat tell me that through Shensung.
表明の力だとそうアルレルトが言って
I forget if we got this in-depth explanation of her abilities, but it is nice to have.
Oh,
This particular thing that she's about to explain, this we got in the other route as well. The explanation of how she resonates with the emotions of the people that she's singing with.
表明した人の
Which
Yeah,
does
exactly.
at least explain why they claim that they don't have emotions, even though we clearly see them emoting. I guess their rationale is we're just borrowing these emotions instead of having our
戻して
own.
いるのです
感情はなくても知ることはできる。
私の力に関してアルレルトはこんなことも言っていました私と
You are the ultimate sociopathic
お
life
互いの思い
forms.
合う心が強ければ強いほど歌の力は増幅されるのだそうですつまり
That sounds like Kingdom Hearts if it was an entire musical.
その人はその
So Melody of Memory?
Yes. Oh, what beautiful dreams that girl is having with songs.
Alright. Next, The Brightest Smile.
Just smile.
Yeah.
Oh, Sonic, stop telling me
how
what
many
to
Sonic 06
smile.
references have we made in this part?
I mean, the fact that a lot of the plot is essentially Methless's plan from 06 doesn't help.
Okay, to give this game credit, the plan here isn't quite as stupid as the one in 06.
Wibbs, need I remind you, Al's plan is to kill things so that the main heroines will cry.
Yep, it's basically the same idea. Nephilis trying to kill Sonic so that Elise would cry. That's literally the same thing.
By
at least it wasn't like implanted into them like near their the beginning of their bloody childhood.
I
Where,
guess.
Yeah, where we're expected to believe that they wouldn't cry in over a decade.
I guess.
So, by association, this game has to be comparable to the Felix the Cat movie.
Sure, why not?
Oh, right, yeah, I keep forgetting about that.
Well, it's mostly for a joke, but yes, the Felix the Cat in the movie have quite a lot of things in common with Sonic 06.
Yeah, and me too and Deji rewatched that movie, and man, that movie is just as annoying as the legends say. Man, it's so bad.
I get the idea the 50 series was the progenitor of the quirky cartoon animal mascot fights an evil scientist that paired up with evil stuff like Crash and Sonic.
I mean, okay. It's like the Nostalgia Critic said in his review. Felix the Cat is a product of its time in the purest sense, where the original concept was made
Oh, okay.
way early.
This bit here. Basically, she used her song so she can feel what Fang is feeling, and you're worried about all of us, as in Fleur, Al, and Glass.
Because he such has a good heart.
I mean, okay, I want to be fair to Fang on this. We have always seen that, again, underneath that selfish facade of his, he is a deeply caring person who, when he forms a bond, does legit want to help a person the best he can, essentially.
The thing is that, like he said, and I think also Pedro mentioned it sometimes, but this is a thing that was also present in Advent Dark Force, and to be fair, consistent, I suppose. But it's more of a case where the game is trying to have the cake and eat it too. Pardon, because, you know, what I'm about to say fits that, or a pun. Because, again, it wants to try to say what you just said, Jova, but it comes more across as people of pure heart tend to be, for the most part, stupid people who want to just eat and sleep.
Unsolicited conversation. Oh god, I'm trying to
Which,
think about
honestly,
that.
it's not a very good message. And if it was still for retaining the comedy aspect, that, the parody, satirical, RPG archetypes similar to Konosuba, honestly, it would have made more sense. But you can tell that also by late time of Darwin Dark, all 3 routes in Darwin Dark Force, and this one, now the plot has to take itself much more seriously. And to be fair, it's doing a good job. It's just that, Fang is still kind of an idiot. It's just a matter of, how much you're endeared by his qualities.
Well, I will agree that Fang is an idiot. I disagree that the message is giving off the idea that those who are pure are often dumb and whatnot. Because, no, we have seen other good qualities in characters that are not as dumb as Fang. Like, I legit think that this is more focusing on the fact that Fang has hidden layers and hints that, who knows, maybe he's not as stupid as he likes to let off, if only because he wants to get out of work every now and then, but that when he's forced to actually confront Step, then he has a better hero lying within. I love how we are essentially having a TED Talk over a Fairy Fencer F game, but here we are.
The only thing I have to add about this topic is that in order to, I can understand what the game is going for, like Jova, but in order to pull this off, the game needed better writing, better dialogue, better jokes.
Also, that big gladiator moment at the very beginning of this game, regardless of the route,
in fact,
where Fang's laps are airing, that really comes the fuck out of nowhere. It doesn't fit with the whole,
Yeah, I get that it's only one scene, like Jovez mentioned before. I get it, it's only one time where the writing has a brain fart, but man, what an unpleasant brain fart, you know what I mean?
And again, even more reason, why is it there? For comedy?
Yeah, who the hell thought it was a good idea to put that bit in there if you're trying to pose Fang as a kind-hearted person deep down?
Like, I wonder, were they trying to be equal opportunity in anime and go, look, for once it's not the girl
No,
physically.
Joe, I think you're thinking too hard on it this time around.
Yeah, I probably am, but, like, it's an explanation for something that came legit so out of pocket and never really came back.
I just remembered something, like, real quick. I can talk about something like with Shooter in The World Ends With You, right? Where he's positioned as a stupid character, right? While still having that deep down kind heart thing because he still cares about the friends he makes, the kindred spirits and all that stuff, right? The thing is, Shooter works so much better because his jokes are actually funny. The writing is funny. And as a result, it's much easier.
Stupidity is not posed as a malicious kind of thing.
And as a result, it's much easier to endear ourselves to him because his jokes are genuinely funny. So if the jokes in this game were funnier, maybe this could have worked better, but they're not. Anyway, see you for the next part, everybody.
Yeah.
See ya.
Then.